Trokea change mithawa ki tratia pawa shtemi machapi na tiospawa e tawa kuki le makaha yapi cha hani trogashila wichasha I tracha ki he shunka lutai japi na e ta o yuchbe o yate ki he papi cha Lena wichoya ke ki hoch unchi hanke shaila chalena hoch iwoa glaking teki hena shahila ki isha sloliapi na kumach bia tro yate hena isha sloliapi cha. My name is Leola One Feather and I'm from the Tioshba called Skunkide, and that's along the creek here, Bunditni, north, toward Manderson, and our headsman chief leader was a man named Red Dog, who was Mini Koju, and he was part of one of the 3 branches of the Oyuchbe group that came from the north. And then my other lineage, my grandfather Nupa's wife is Cheyenne, Shaila. So I would say that we had a household where we had double teachings, and when I was young there were really old people who were part Crow who also lived here, so that was another language that they spoke. So there were multilingual groups living here on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and many Koju and also Standing Rock people resided here after the war ended in 1890. And also Sichavu and Wajaje, Dakota, who were also part of groups who died here at Winditney in 1890, and also other bands, they were also massacred, like Buffalo Gap, the Stronghold, and by Rocky Ford. This is their story that I'd like to share, and how I got to go to several journeys called the Journey of Spring, and I just thought we were going to, do something in springtime, but then I recalled that there were elders who had pipes, and so what I recall to begin with was a place called the Council Oak, which is by Hermosa, and the research we were able to do on that showed that this tree is probably more than 5 centuries old now, and it's on the Federal Registry of Protected Trees in the state of South Dakota. So from there they would continue on and go to a place called Wind Cave, which was our emergence, where Trukahe brings there were 3 men and 4 women who emerged from this cave, who were the first humans on Earth. The next place in the journey was a place called Preshla, where they would bring food and feed creation. Meat for meat eaters, berries for the birds, and for the animals in the earth, or the berries and seeds for those in the earth, and also the winged. I never seen a formal ceremony there, but I also remembered that it's okay to pray anytime to go to these places. So when our grandmother would be making prayers, then we could be, we'd be playing, but was just really beautiful and nice to go, and not really knowing what's occurring, but knowing that it's something that's really significant. So I didn't learn until later that this is what we were doing, And so, being a child, I just understood Lakota really well, because that's what they spoke, was the primary language in our home. And I can't say I'm a first Lakota language speaker, but I knew I was able to understand, and when there were old people who couldn't speak English, that's when I was able to talk with them or answer them. Over time, I became more and more interested and would visit elders. The story that I know from my family was, as I am saying, so by then it would be springtime. I mean, it would be later on, like June, and we would go to a place called where the river flows in four directions, and Cascades, where we'd go there, and also along the Cheyenne River. After that, maybe on the same day, we would go to a place called Flint Hill, and that to me was really significant because I recall a petriform laying across the side of a hill. It was pretty big, but you couldn't make out what it was, but it looked like it had arms and legs, like the figure of a man. So I hadn't been over there for years, and when I revisited, I kept having dreams of this place to go back there. So it's possible that it could be a marking of an alignment of Scorpius. And in Lakota lore and Cheyenne, there's a story of a fallen star, and he's real great, so they depict him as a giant because he did great things. So it's a hard story to find, to verify it, but there actually is a site similar to this in Wisconsin, and there's also one on top of Star Village, and that one they put a fence around it, I think in about maybe 1964 or so. They put a fence around that petriform. The next site we went to was, it was hard to go to Iankaga, and I just remember a mountain, but not anything really significant other than it looked like it blew up like a volcano. So we didn't do anything there, but it was along that route towards the Bears Lodge. That's kind of one of those things with me, that these roads have changed now, and they were dirt roads. So I'd have to find that road somewhere and get lost. So, and then we'd go to the Bears Lodge, and that's where I remember camping, and back then they would let Indians camp basically wherever they wanted, but always told you to be alert that there could be bears or mountain lions, so not to leave food out. So that was kind of our how we were able to access sacred sites when we were kids. There wasn't no real promotion, or if men were and women were going to pray, it was a real private thing because it wasn't like allowed yet. We didn't have the freedom of religion, so everything they did, they had to do it quietly. And they certainly couldn't make a sweat fire or a sundance because that would require a fire permit. So there were a lot of challenges to be able to go back and to do ceremonies for our people to live better. Also, the food, the harvest, all the foods that grow there, we're unable to access them because of distance and not ever having had a good economy. Our people could go buy a brand new car, or make a loan and buy a new car. So we're never able to have a really good fruit or food harvest from the Black Hills. The other sites that are really significant that have been also nominated for historical preservation because they contain a lot of cultural evidence of occupation and activity. So that would also include right there by Hell's Canyon. That land was returned to the Ocheti Shakoi, I think about in early 2000 or so, by the Honeywell Corporation. And the Oglala Sioux tribe holds title to this, but from the treaty standpoint, no one has made a move to put it back into trust. And at this point, the trust is kind of risky because we've lost so much land within the Department of Interior. It says in trust, but we see a lot of mismanagement of our lands that were illegally taken, and gold miners trespassing and homesteaders getting homesteads with, but we weren't allowed to live there. So, but for years since World War II, the Black Hills has been an area where several sites have been mined for uranium production, and in the war effort, we've got abandoned sites that still haven't been cleaned up. And with a really high cancer rate in this county, it would seem that more people would be involved in wanting to stop the mining and look for alternative ways to, generate electricity or whatever instead of building nuclear power plants. So right now, the Black Hills again are becoming under attack by foreign corporations who are not only looking for gold but lithium and uranium, and trying to secure ways to further invade lands that have already been nominated for protection. The list goes on. There's early in 1906 with Section 106, which recognizes that our people were humans and no longer considered cultural resources. So at that time, when we became humans, the Bear's Lodge, which is Matotipila or Devil's Tower, and Flint Hill, which are, one is in the south, Flint Hill, and Bear's Lodge is in the north, were both nominated for protection. Flint Hill is one of the oldest, largest flint quarries in the world, and the Bear's Lodge is considered one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. So how is it that we have not gotten UNESCO nominations or the ability to do so, and that we haven't had more experts who know the land and the geology to step forward and help us to protect the land that our future generations were guaranteed through treaties?
Hey, rainbow, rainbow, rainbow! Yeah, it's real pretty out here. Your cousins are straight up on top over there. The other cousins right on that side. I feel like we're in the center. So, just make sure we got the food and going outward, right? Yeah, if people could just sit here for a moment to look around and see it underneath, a view of underneath they've never seen.
Yeah, I used to go to my grandma's house in Pine Ridge, and she asked me to go pick berries for her. So I used to walk out of Pine Ridge, and along the road, as you go in, there was big berry bushes, buffalo berries, and plums. Cousin and uncle, we all walk out to those bushes, and we pick all the berries for them and take it back, and they make jellies and they store it for winter. But now they cut down all those berry bushes, and there's trailer houses all set up along there. All those bushes and trees, they just cut them down to make room for their houses. So I was real sad. I thought then when
Alex brought up planting trees. I was all for it because it's really important. Everybody should plant a tree. I thought, and there's no more trees growing. All the trees are dying. A long time ago, we used to go to treaty meetings because my family are from a treaty family, I guess. So we used to go to the meetings, and we had to be quiet. We can't talk or nothing. We had to sit quiet and listen for all the adults speaking. So I used to just sit there and listen to the adults speaking, and they'll never give the Black Hills back to us till it's a pile of sand. And they take everything out of it, then they'll give it back to us. That's what the grandpas talk about too. Yeah, so it's real important that we plant trees. We have good water here, so the trees will probably thrive here, and the bushes too, the berry bushes. So I'm really happy for that. Maybe when they start blooming and producing fruit, all the grandkids will enjoy that. I'm happy for that. I wanted to plant some cottonwood trees. There's a road over here, and there's a whole bunch of little cottonwood trees are growing in a ditch right there, right along the road. So they're gonna chop them all down. So I told Alex about that area where those trees were, and we can go over there and dig those trees out and replant them over here because they're along the highway, so they cut them down. We need to plant more trees and the berries because we need to teach younger children about drying the berries or canning them to keep food in storage. Can't depend on a refrigerator all the time, so we need to dry our food and store it in different areas where it'll stay safe. And that's what our people did a long time ago. They bury their food and they come back and they dig it up and they have food catches, they call them. Also, we are matriarchal societies, and no grandma ever touched pen to paper. No grandma ever signed treaties, so this continent still belongs to the women. The men signed because they signed for the safety of the next 7 generations. So it's time that the men and the women get together again and do something for our future generations. On my land, this guy, my neighbor, has buffalo, and my land is not fenced off, and so he runs his buffalo on my land for over 20 years now. And I told the tribe, I told land office, they never did anything about it. So that guy continues to use my land, but they're buffalo, so I really didn't say anything. And I went out to check on my land one day, and we decided to take a back road that we never used before. So we went on that, and we opened a few gates and went into other pastures. And those pastures were all bare. They're just eaten down to the ground. They're overgrazed pastures. The next 2 pastures we drove through. And so the cattle are no good for the land. They overgraze and they eat everything. They eat all the medicine and the flowers. Everything that grows out there, they eat it. So there's nothing left. It's all looks like a desert. Nothing left. So the buffalo are real good for the land because on my land where they've been living for the past 20 years, it looks very lush. I got vines growing on the trees, and the buffalo are just laying around. They're not destroying the land. So I'm really happy that buffaloes are coming back. We need to take down all the fences and open all the dams. All the water run free. Can't hold it back. All around the world, the dams have to be let loose. Niwichoni. We need to take care of our land by doing things like that. Take down all the fences, let the buffaloes roam free, and let the earth restore itself. That way the buffaloes will restore the earth.